to get to learn from you from this webinar and to get a piece of your mind out of this discussion.
Thank you so much, Anubhav, for inviting me over here. And thank you to all of you, especially the entire LawSikho team, of what you have been trying to do and trying to achieve. And you have been successful in preparing this kind of an online platform where you are sharing some really good information, interacting with many legal experts and many other in general, so far as the law and the allied subjects are concerned. So I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job. And I feel honored to be a part of this, and I feel honored to be contributing towards this endeavor of yours in making legal education accessible. And I hope we have a fruitful discussion today.
Yes, I'm obliged, sir. So, sir, before we jump into the nitty-gritties of topic, how about you telling us your journey as a lawyer till now?
Okay. So I think I'll just start and very briefly summarize my law school life, if I may say, because I recently graduated. I graduated last year. So it's better to start from how things worked from the scratch and maybe what turned in my favor during the law school before we go into the nitty-gritties of each and every internship and how things work so far as the ultimate objective for which we have gathered here. So basically, I was a science student. I was pursuing my preparations for engineering and various entrance examinations, IIT and ID, etc. Back then, law happened by out of choice, and especially coming from a kind of a not very aware so far as legal education is concerned. I hail from a city, a southern coastal city in Odisha. So, things were not, so far as the legal education was concerned, there was not much awareness. However, there was always an inclination deep inside my heart towards the politics, towards the issues of social issues in general. There was deep interest in understanding constitutional law from very beginning itself. So therefore, I thought of pursuing law. I appeared clad with only a 7 to 8 day preparation, and obviously it didn't work out in my favor. And then I joined KIT University, the law school, the School of Law, KIT Bhubaneswar. And I think what KIT gave me was ample opportunity to deal with situations, to do multiple internships around the year, to participate in numerous competitions. So what I did was I engaged myself in a lot of moods. I did about 16 to 17 moods. I won a few. It was a really great experience of mooting every time. And what I did was, I made sure whenever I used to moot in different areas of law. By that, I used to understand the nitty-gritties of various niche areas. Slowly, obviously, I started with criminal and constitutional law, and especially international patent rights, energy laws, environmental laws, and various similar things, media laws, etc. So my whole, endeavor was to learn through mooting, because my college supported that, and I found the activity really exhilarating and also really, encouraging for me so far as understanding the law was concerned. And I developed that tendency in general so as to become a, litigational lawyer. And, throughout the law school, I did a lot of internships. I, did again some about 15, 16 internships with various lawyers, senior advocates, even Justice N.V. Ramana. And I've done 3 internships in different law firms, especially in the months of June. Honestly saying, I was never inclined towards any law firm initially. My whole aim was to be in practice and join a senior. However, finding JSA dealing explicitly with litigation, the Delhi office is only focused with litigation-based work. So that is what exactly in order to finally make a choice about 4 or 5 options that I had towards the end of it. And yes, I got a kind of an offer, towards the fag end of my 5th year to join JSA from 10th semester onwards. And my college used to provide that 10th semester as a leave. Law firm, anyone who was providing a job in 10th semester, we used to join. So I think that was the added advantage I had so far as my college was concerned, as against my peers who had to wait for a degree to join a law firm or a LLP or a company or a chamber, etc. So I think, therefore, joining JSA right from my 10th semester as a trainee associate and converting that into a proper position, being an attorney since the day I graduated. I think that helped me even learning a lot, plus the experience I had of over 6 months. That is my whole 10th semester in working. I think that was really great. Since then, I've been working in JSA's regulatory litigation team. We deal with the power sector, we deal with the environmental laws, we deal with a bit of arbitration, we deal with mostly in the tribunals of the electricity-based commissions and the appellate tribunals, and obviously the Supreme Court. And we also deal a bit in the aviation sector. My mentoring partner being the head of JSA's aviation team. So yeah, so the work ranges around that, and obviously the constitutional courts are always in the foray. So we have been back in my college, I was a constitution law honors student. So I think keeping that broader ambit, learning constitution in deep and detail always helped me to be open to any sort of law that was coming in my way. So yeah, that's all, briefly put, that's what and where I come from. And yeah, that's my experience.
No, phenomenal, sir. Sir, before we proceed to question, I would like to bring to your knowledge that your internet connection is a little bit unstable. So, your voice is getting a bit jittery in the mid. So, if we can adjust that a bit.
Okay, if you can just point that out, or else what I'll do is if the issue is persistent, then I can turn off my video, or else so that we can proceed with at least the audio and the students can get the benefit of it. But some instability because of the climatic conditions here. It's a cyclonic situation, I guess. So maybe because of that, there is some impact on the network.
All right. Okay, that's fine. I will point that out, sir. Okay, now, sir, I would like to start with a very basic question. We know that before progressing towards anything, knowing what to do is very important. As they said, failing to plan is planning to fail. So, sir, how can we plan and choose internships during law school?
Okay, I think first of all, let's bust certain myths. So far as internships and planning and what someone should do after a law school, etc. is concerned. I have heard it from a lot of people, a lot of teachers, a lot of advisors, a lot of so-called experts in the field, suggesting that you should not intern in law chambers until you reach your second year, or at least your third year. See, the problem with that is unless you intern and get an idea of what happens later in the years, you will not get the experience of dealing with it when you go for the very first time, right? Therefore, they will suggest you to go to NGOs. They will suggest you to go to, a lot of other non-governmental based organizations, the policy think tanks to intern with. See, unless you are actually inclined with respect to non-litigational work or non-corporate work, maybe that helps. However, if you really want to be involved with the interpretation of law day in and day out, I think you need to start your internships in such a way that it aligns with your career goal. And that's very, very important. I also understand that not many in the initial years of law school, especially the joinees or the first years and second years, it might be a situation where they would have not decided what exactly are they going to do after 5 years. But I think that is not a healthy position to be in. It's always better to predetermine yourself as to what exactly you want to do. Maybe your first year and second year can be like exploring a lot of options, but I will still suggest that always start from a district court internship, no matter what exactly you plan to become. The district court internship, although you will not understand the law, although you will not understand the interpretation, although you will not understand the arguments put forth by the counsels, you will definitely, get a hang of what exactly the procedure is, how the procedure works, how the court works, how everything, is dealt so far as the procedural angle is concerned. So when you see that in the early first year, you will relate that when you studied the subjects. And then after studying the subjects, when you go back to maybe a district court internship in a second year or a third year, you will have better grip of what exactly is happening. You will know the procedure by then. You would have also known the substantive law by reading the subjects back in your law school. And then you go back to the very same place and make the most out of it. So it's like, if I have to do an international law moot, maybe, for example, like just to give a correlation to that effect, because people may understand it. Just if I have to do an international law moot, maybe I will first do a national moot on the very same subject. I'll understand whether the subject interests me. I will see my comfort zone. And then again, with full preparation, I'll go back to the same place to make the most out of it, right? So it happens very similarly with internships. You do an internship, in your initial years, you understand how things work. I understand that not everyone will be happy with that because they might see you as a burden in your first year or second year. But see, when you go to a lawyer who hardly needs any help, who has a lot of associates to help, it's always open for them to accept the interns, especially at such initial years. And what you should do is you should observe with absolute keenness and interest. Because if you're wasting your time in the initial years of law school, especially first and second year, in wasting your internships per se, then you're losing out on your time. Therefore, I think it's very, very important to choose the right internship at the right time. Okay, therefore, when an internship will become right, or what is that right time, depends on a person to person. If someone asks me, can I go to JSA in second year? You are most welcome, provided you have sufficient knowledge, you have sufficient inclination to work, and you zeal and hard work to portray and demonstrate. If you have that, please feel free to even come in your first year, because we are there to make you understand the law and the nitty-gritties for there. As in, that's how things work in a law firm. Mentors are always there. Consider attorneys as the mentors, and always feel free to ask questions whatsoever. As I think Anubhav also pointed out right now this session, no question is stupid. Just ask a question. You will not get clarity on the exact thing that you need to work on. Therefore, we'll go into all of that as to what should exactly be done in an internship towards maybe the later half of the session. However, it's very important to plan it as per your career goals. And that's all I would say. Someone who is interested in judiciary need not do a lot of internships in litigation side or in the corporate side. They should rather focus on more research-oriented internships with judges, internships with district court advocates and lawyers. Similarly, someone who is interested in litigation, who wants to practice, then I don't see a point in they doing an internship in corporate sector. They going for things like ONGC or some other company and understanding how in-house counsel works. So it's very important to align your choosing the internship with your career objectives, and that is how you need to get a grip on it. For example, again, that can also have a different determination factor. What area of law interests you is also should be a determining factor when you go for an internship. Please understand, if you are really interested in competition law, there is no point of going into internship where a lawyer deals with constitutional and criminal law, because you will just waste your time there. You will not be interested. Secondly, there is no value addition from your end, because if you're not interested, you won't deliver. The quality of work that is required from you will be compromised. So your college names will be at stake. So you don't want to be in that situation. It's a loss for everyone. The lawyer who is accepting your internship, plus you are wasting your time, wasting your efforts, wasting your money. A lot of such considerations are there. Therefore, always align your internships. I know choosing internships is a difficult thing. Also, cracking one is the most difficult thing. Maybe sure Anubhav has a specific question on how exactly to figure out what internship to go and then how exactly to crack that. We'll deal with that later. But yes, choosing internships, again, I'll just sum this up. No straitjacket formula. The only consideration is what is your interest, what is your career objective, what is your career goal. Align it with that. If you're doing anything out of the same or out of the track, you will be considered as if you are deviating from your career goals. The lawyers, the ultimate recruiters won't be happy with that, because if today I as an energy lawyer is recruiting any student, why will I recruit if someone who shows that yes, he or she is interested in energy law but has not done any internship in energy law, right? So your interest has to also be clear from a perusal of your CV. Okay, so we'll deal with all of this. Okay, how exactly you need to frame your CV, how the CV should speak for itself so far as your interest and other areas are concerned. So yes, choosing internships, planning internships, always align it with your career goals.
All right. So, phenomenal answers. A very detailed and yet very articulate. So people, did you observe one thing? Most of the students ask, how will I plan my internships if I don't know my interest? I don't know all the areas of law. Then how will I actually know whether I hate this, whether I really want to venture into this area or not? For that, Saunak sir suggested that you should go for moot courts. You should go for course scholastics activity. You can write a research paper on it. You can write blogs on it. And then you will get a fairly good idea of whether whether it is your calling or not, right, Saunak sir?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very important also. I'll tell you how.
Yeah.
Suppose, for example, you are interested in a very niche area such as media law. Now, telecommunication laws, media laws, very few law firms have a specific wing for that, and very specific lawyers deal with that. So there is a very short requirement of even vacancies are few in number, short requirement of lawyers every year. But say, for example, you are deeply interested in media laws and you want to make a career out of media laws, how exactly you should go about it? You do not have much opportunities to intern with media teams because there are very few law firms who may be dealing with media laws. You can at best try your level best and get an internship maybe towards the back end of your fourth year or final year. So therefore, what will also is what other things that you have done in order to develop and further your interest on media law. For that, as Anuva pointed out, you can do moots on media law. You can write research papers on media law. You can do presentations on media law. You can, similarly for any other law for that matter, for sports law especially, there are lots of conferences that happens on throughout the country with respect to sports law. But if you see how many law firms deal actually with sports law, there are a handful of them. Therefore, your internships may not be the only answer for you to get a law firm job or maybe a PPO. There are a lot of other things that needs to start. And I think therefore your entire law school has to be planned and structured in such a way that it has to be like climbing a step one by one, like where you can first develop your interest by studying the law. That can be through by way of writing research papers, participating in these tournaments, etc. Furthering that by way of internship, maybe one or two internships in a very proper place which has deep interest or rather inclination in that subject. I think that should help. So that is how it should be, an incremental way of going ahead with your career prospects. And exactly you need to do that. That has to be built in into your CV. And I feel that if you whatever you do in your law school life will automatically get reflected in your CV, right? So therefore, there's no separate aspect as to how should we build our CV. The simple aspect is what you do today will be your pointer in the CV tomorrow. Therefore, plan your things in such a way that you have a proper CV at the end of the day, because that is the only two-pager which will decide your first impression. And any such internships and, or any callback or any interviews or any tests for that matter, various law firms have certain tests of a week or so before they, induct someone into the law firm. So therefore, I think CV is the first document. Therefore, yes, due weightage has to be given to the same. But there are again various myths about CV, which we can definitely discuss towards the end of it. Yeah.
Exactly, sir. So now we have discussed the planning and choosing of internships. So we have elements with us. Now come the question of arranging these elements. So sir, you have shared your CV with me. I have seen that you have maintained a certain kind of hierarchy in your internships. That you first interned in an NGO, then with a district court judge, and then with High Court, then Supreme Court, something of that sort. I don't remember the details exactly. So, sir, what advice would you like to give to all the attendees here on maintaining the hierarchy in internship, maintaining that flow in internship, so that they can get the maximum knowledge out of that experience?
Correct. I think, see, the experience has to be this. First of all, I'll speak about CV and then I'll go into internships hierarchy. So far as the hierarchy in CV is concerned, no matter when you do an internship, many will suggest that the CV should speak of a chronological order by going by the date of your internship, and you need to mention it one by one. No, it doesn't happen that way. What it happens is your CV should speak the best possible internship you have done at the top, followed by the slowly decremental nature of internships. Decrement is not because of where you have worked. It's rather because of the position and the authority they have in the field of law. For example, when I interned with Honorable Justice N.V. Ramana, who is going to be the next Chief Justice of India, back then, that was, I think, my 13th internship, and I did 3 more internships after that. But in my CV, that's on top because obviously he's a Supreme Court judge, right? So that is the kind of hierarchy you need to follow so far as you reflect it in the CV. Similarly, senior advocates based internships should be placed over and above the law firm based internships. No matter, even if you're working in a tier one law firm, we being the attorneys in tier one law firms, we ideally brief a senior counsel for a matter. Therefore, so far as the position, kind of an assumed hierarchy in the strata of the legal field is concerned, the senior advocate will be placed higher than that of a law firm, right? So I think these are the kind of technical parameters you may consider while drafting your CV, which I'm not sure how many of you follow. Okay, maybe you start by writing, okay, first year I did an NGO internship, that can go first because that is what I did first. No, it doesn't happen that way. In fact, it should happen the other way around, as in you should in fact or else place your last internship first and then slowly go in a descending order. That is the other approach, but I suggest put your best internships up front and then make very short pointers as to what exactly you did in that internship. Just bullets. Don't explain, don't make it lengthy, don't make it clumsier. The CV should be absolutely plain and simple, and should look attractive by the simplicity, if I may say that. Because it's very important that I don't want your drawings and background, etc. Exactly. Please avoid all of that. Put it as simple as possible, and that's about your CV is concerned. Now, the main aspect, that is how exactly you should channelize your internship and maintain the hierarchy. Now, that is something that depends completely on how exactly you are applying. For example, if you do a tier one internship in your second year, and then, for example, you are not getting a single tier one internship until your final year, the ultimate recruiter will see that, oh, you never could manage to get even an internship in a tier one law firm. Why are we going to give you a job in tier one law firm? That will be the first question, right? Therefore, the idea is start from a district court lawyer, slowly go towards a tier 3, tier 4 law firm, because they have the most ample time to also explain you certain things like drafting. They have the time to, make you learn things. There's also a misconception that, okay, law firms, will provide you the skills, etc. No, we also expect that you come with a lot of skills, plus go back with certain add-on skills. That's the kind of approach we follow. It's not like you come with a blank mind and take all the inputs and spoon feeding from us and then go back to your colleges. Therefore, it's also do such internships where you learn. For example, if you go to an advocate on record, you will learn drafting. If you go to a counsel who is practicing in 15 courts on a daily basis, right, who has a lot of drafting work, there you will definitely learn research and drafting. But if you go to a senior counsel's chamber, okay, mostly things, because how a senior counsel works is based on briefing. Like, I am an attorney in a law firm, I will draft, I will put everything in place, I will just brief a senior counsel, and the senior counsel will go and argue on the matter the next day. Maybe a conference in this regard will happen the previous midnight. In that situation, the senior counsel's interns, as in whosoever is interning in a senior counsel's chamber, they would have gone home back at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. for that matter. Or even if you are there and present for the conference, you won't understand a single thing what's happening in the court the next day. The reason being, you are not aware of how exactly the drafting was, what was the entire context behind the drafting. You are not briefed in that. You have not got the time to read the file. And therefore, there is no meaning that you are attaining out of that internship, right? Therefore, it's very, very important to first understand drafting, understand the court craft, understand research, and various other aspects before going to a senior counsel's chamber. So the hierarchy is this, that lot of learning followed by effective learning followed by smart learning. Okay, if I may just put it that way, because a lot of learning is always in the chambers of an AOR, or if you are considering a firm, it's always there in a tier 3 or a tier 4 law firm, because the attorneys do have some amount of time of investing in an intern. Okay, unlike us, who are almost dragged with deadlines every day in and day out, and we will have to trust you on face value if you have to give me certain work within a particular deadline. Because if I'm trusting you, I don't have the time to further deal with that. I have to send it that way after just validating your submissions. So that's the kind of trust we need to have in an intern. Therefore, to demonstrate and to make us believe that you can do it, you need to possess and demonstrate that skill. Therefore, I think it's very, very important to learn, effectively learn, and followed by smart learning. And therefore, choose your internships where you get a lot of opportunity to learn, followed by, effective learning in places like a judge's chamber, where you get a lot of understanding about how things work on the other way around. What are the expectations of judges? How things work? How the lawyer should, clearly deal with such situations where they can articulate things within 2 minutes instead of arguing for 30 minutes, right? So those are the kind of things you need to learn even as an intern, because your research, etc., should be that pointed and that on point, if I may say that, that I will just demonstrate an argument by way of just citing that research or citing a case law and not go further into that. So it has to be like on prima facie basis, you need to give the best possible, the judgment, if I may call it, if you are researching. Therefore, all of that is getting into the picture. Lastly, smart internships are where you'll be expected to be on your toes every time. We can call you at 12 in the night, we can call you at 3 in the morning, maybe sometimes 7 in the morning. So what happens is we'll tell you that, okay, this is the work, this is the deadline, and you must adhere to the deadline. And by that, what happens is you also need to be absolutely thorough with your work. So I think, therefore, please understand that to be in that position, you need to have experience, you need to have understanding of prior, internships, learnings. The law school plays an important role. Whether you are actually exposed into mooting and research in general, I think that should help, if not mooting. Therefore, I feel that, you start from a district court, you slowly go into a tier 3 or tier 4 law firm, you then go to a tier 2 law firm, and finally in your fourth and final year, try your best to crack into a tier 1 law firm. Try for long-term internship in a tier 1 law firm, because that is what will make you come in the notice of the partners or the ones who will be recruiting. Therefore, that's the endeavor, that's the hierarchy. If you're going for any other thing apart from law firms, again, the structure is go to a district court lawyer, then go to maybe a high court lawyer, and then go to Supreme Court advocate on records, and finally a senior counsel's chamber. And maybe you can do certain judge-based internships. Yeah.
All right, sir. So the hierarchy should be maintained on the criteria of relevance. How relevant that particular internship would be to your career and to your future internships or future endeavors. And I love those insights of lot of learning, effective learning, and smart learning. So lot of learning can be in the chamber of a in the chamber of an AOR or a district court internships. Effective learning can be with some judges and senior counsels, and smart learning can be in law firms and if someone has aims then in an in-house team or something.
I think honestly, just to clarify, I think the learning continues on a daily basis. What I meant by smart learning is, for example, if you're given a task today, if you are having a deadline tomorrow, you cannot think that, okay, because my timing is from 10 to 7, I'll finish the work and go back. My advice will be, smart learning over there is putting extra hard work, putting extra effort, and then even researching a bit even after you go back, maybe read up basics on that, read the background of that, and then come back to us. I think that is what I meant by smart learning, where you need to be more effective, right? And be more holistic and give us a like overall picture of the things, instead of just coming with one case law or just having one single answer. It's more important that you give us the overall picture after understanding the same. So you have to be quick, you have to be efficient, at the same time you have to be absolutely correct. Yeah.
Understood, sir. So the work doesn't end when the task ends. If it ends when it has successfully fetched out the results. If you are done with the task, well and good. Now go and refine it. As sir very well put it, you have to do the background research, or you can try to ask further queries. Sir, how can I fit this work better in the ultimate objective we are trying to achieve and do so. Perfect, sir. All right. So I think now we can take a couple of questions that I find really pertinent to this point of discussion.
Yeah.
How to plan internships? This question is from Niharika. what should we do to get internships in tier 1 firms, as is it very difficult to get an internship during this COVID situation?
So I would like to clarify the primary objective is to try your best to crack an internship. That I understand it's a very difficult job to manage getting an internship in these times, because most of the law firms are working remotely. And apart from handful of law firms who are almost maintaining the regular business, I think most of them have also intermittently been working themselves. So that being the situation, I'm not sure what policy that the law firms have are now adapting, so far as considering or rather continuing with the internships. I have heard that many law firms have done away with the internships for the time being, where they're not allowing any interns because of the simple fact that the data privacy, the issues of confidentiality of documents, and various other aspects are coming into the picture, right? Although we are having like regular internship programs, similarly we have also reduced the overall number of interns that are being taken for a particular month. The simple reason for that is, the situation is such, not all teams are working at full, length the way they used to before pre-COVID level. And therefore, the situation is there being less demand. Obviously, the internships are also not happening to that extent, and they're not being accepted to that extent. Secondly, even if you, for the namesake, someone is accepted as an intern, then the problem is not many will have the time and effort to even mentor the intern virtually. Ultimately it's very important to understand that virtual internships, honestly saying, are not a thing. They won't help you learn a lot. Maybe you'll be given certain research work, you will prepare a note and send that, you at best can get our feedback, but you will not be noticed, honestly saying, at a larger level. Therefore, I think, I hope the situation becomes back to normal very soon, and I hope physical internships are resumed. But given the current situation, I think all you can do is try your best to manage securing an internship. Once you crack that, I'm sure things will be fine, because whatever interns are allowed, I'm sure everyone is mentoring them and people are getting work, and based on that the interns are performing. So I think that is also, like, especially JSA has a specific tendency of, rather it's a matter of practice, that there is a mandatory interview towards your end of your internship. So that is where you are interviewed by a panel of partners who will mark you, and that will be saved in our records, and that forms the basis of your callback internships. So therefore I will suggest that keep trying, obviously do not pester any HR of any of the law firms that you are applying for. But the best idea is drop an email. That email has to be a tailor-made email. Do not copy paste your CV and cover letter from any random institutionalized websites and then send it to a law firm. All most of them go into the spam folder, honestly saying, and very few are actually read. Therefore, unless you craft your own cover letter, unless you make it tailor made, after researching about the law firm, research what the partner does, research what the law firm is engaged in, you cannot apply to, for example, JS's Delhi office and ask for a corporate position. That means you have not done your due diligence and you have not researched whether Delhi office deals with corporate matters or not, because it's a pure litigation office. Same goes with any office for that matter, or any team that you're applying for. If you're applying for a specific team like maybe intellectual property, make sure you read about the partners, make sure you read about what matters, maybe the landmark judgments where the law firm has been engaged in. You can make just passing remarks to the same in your cover letter, so that if an HR reads, okay, he or she understands that some amount of interest or inclination is there in this individual towards our firm, and therefore we will consider the application and then see the CV. Therefore, your CV is not seen on the private assignments. It will be seen only if your cover letter is fine. Therefore, please understand these situations on
Sir, we
of
missed
ground
last two
realities.
lines.
That's yeah. I think there was my internet connectivity was a bit unstable. So I'll just repeat that. I said that the ground reality is, unless your cover letter is effective and is catchy, so far as it just needs to demonstrate your interest. That's it. Okay, and it also needs to demonstrate something that you are actually inclined towards the law firm. Therefore, make those references of maybe the partner or the expertise of the field, or maybe the judgments where the firm has been involved in, as just one or two sentences. I'm not saying that it has to have substance. Just opening remarks may help. Once you're done sending the first application, follow up after 10-15 days. Just write a soft reminder email. You can do that again after a fortnight. But once you are waiting for over a month and you're not getting any response, you wait for another 10-15 days and call up the HR and request that you have applied for an internship. If the same is possible, please either let me have a kind of a positive or negative response, whatever it is. So if you are up for it, that's the kind of approach you may follow for your following up with internship applications. Because honestly saying, HR must be receiving some thousands on a daily basis. I'm not sure how exactly things are there to scrutinize each and every application. I'm sure there must be teams in each law firm who will be dealing with that. But I'm sure things will be there for so far as job applications are concerned. But I'm not sure how much of investment can someone do in the matter of the time and going through all the kind of cover letters and multiple internship requests that people get. Therefore, the idea is only to be as appropriate you can, or as to the point you can in your cover letter. Keep it short, keep it crisp, keep it to the point and catchy. At the same time, follow up with the HR if possible. Do not pester. I hope you get an internship by that, because ultimately it's a very subjective thing. We can't really say that someone will get an internship for sure. We understand that there are many law colleges opening up these days, with law firms being very minimal in number, right? Therefore, I think that's the approach, especially apart from a handful of law firms. I'm sure especially the practitioners or the independent litigators are facing a tough time in these COVID situations. So I don't think even they will be having a lot of matters to even engage interns. And ultimately, if you don't have a matter and you're engaging an intern, you're just compromising with the intern's time and investment. There's no value to that certificate that you get. So yeah, that's the thing. It's very important to understand the situation we are in. At the same time, adapt to the technological advancements, and also be thoughtful of how exactly things can work. But I think it's a wait and watch situation as of now. Unless physical offices are opening up again, things are not going to be back to normal. That's a practical reality we all need to adjust. And I think the recruiters ultimately will understand that if they see in the CV that, okay, for one entire year, someone has not done an internship, COVID is obviously coming as an excuse. However, for those people who are unable to do internships, it's also very, very important to upskill yourself during these times. Attend all these really great lectures and webinars as conducted by LawSikho and other educational institutions. Similarly, engage yourself in a lot of other virtual competitions that are happening throughout things. It's very important to upskill yourself of whatever interests you. Not that you should do only moots or attend courses or something. Whatever interests you in the field of law, because ultimately the recruiter asks as to what exactly you did in the when the world was hit by COVID-19 situation. You should not say that I just chilled in my room and enjoyed binge watching Netflix and Amazon, etc. It's therefore very, very important that you actually demonstrate that you have done some amount of effort in learning the law, in learning something. I think that should be enough. Yeah.
All right. Another very pertinent question from Pachi. She has sent it to me privately. What about third-year law students who have limited time, unlike 5 years, and are given less internship months by respective law firms? Sir, what is your take on it?
Yeah, I think with third-year colleges, if I'm not wrong, many of the third-year colleges have advantages of allowing the students on running internships, where maybe the classes are from 9 to 11 or 9 to 1. And if at all the lawyer also agrees, if you can convince, if a law firm can agree, it's all about your endeavors. If you want to work post lunch until maybe 8 or 9 in the evening, so that's kind of a running internship, and that's the greatest advantage. You can always work throughout the year. That's one. Obviously the next question is, are internships available running throughout the year, and secondly, what all cities. See, the thing is, being in Delhi, Bombay obviously works, Bangalore obviously works, Kolkata obviously works. I can understand. Like there are a lot of opportunities so far as internships are concerned. I feel that there is a difficulty when people are hailing from states where the legal education is not that high, or where the law as a fraternity has not developed much, or there are only district courts. But the fact remains is district courts is in each district, right? Therefore, for learning the law, there is no criteria of learning from a firm or a lawyer or some other kind of opportunity. You can always avail the running internship from a district court lawyer, and once you get a month-based specific time, you can go to Delhi, Bombay, or Bangalore your with law firms, etc. So do that running internships if you are getting an opportunity and maybe you are having an advantage there. Consider that as an advantage over the 5-year law students, and that is how things work. Plus, the recruiters are aware about the fact that you are hailing from a third-year based, legal setup, educational setup, and therefore that is always in the back of the mind when someone is interviewing you. So don't treat that as a disadvantage. But obviously, learning the law, you have less amount of time. Therefore, you need to utilize your time in a much better way. Maybe by doing running internships, maybe by learning more laws and more subjects than what is taught to you in 3 years. Because I understand even your subjects will be limited, right? So therefore, all of that goes into consideration. So learn the practical insights. I hope your colleges will allow you for running internships. If not, you can always form student unions and try your best to get a kind of leeway for that. I'm sure the college will make way for that.
Yeah. Precisely, sir. To the point. So, sir, even I also think so that the 3-year students have an added advantage. Why? They have their fair share of advantages, not added advantages, their fair share of advantages. Why? Because they have graduated in a certain task, so that they can also around, curate their law career around that. Like if I'm from science background, I can really do good in biotechnology laws, or if I'm from BCom, then I can do really well in finance, banking, finance, and corporate law, right, sir?
Yeah, sure. It depends again. Like I've seen many, commerce students ultimately coming into constitution law. So it absolutely depends on how exactly someone is interested and inclined towards the law subject. So yes, the added advantage is doing a graduation in a particular field of law. For example, if I may quote, let me give an example of someone like Mr. J. Sai Deepak. I think he's an IIT graduate from IIT Kharagpur. He pursued his intellectual property law-based studies in, Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Intellectual Property Law in IIT Kharagpur itself, which is a dedicated law school for IP studies, intellectual property studies. And he then made his career out of intellectual property law. And now he's one of the most sought-after counsels so far as constitutional law is concerned, because of his great submissions in the Sabarimala matter, where I don't know how much of you are aware, but what his argument was, even the DT has a life in terms of Article 21, and Justice Deepak Mishra was just, really appreciated him in open court for that kind of a submission. So the fact remains is, obviously there is an advantage. You can make that as your priority or rather an expert field, as well as you always have the options open as a lawyer to expand your field, to learn more law on the go, because lawyers always learn on the go. It's not that everything has been studied. It's not that every act, every provision is, we have it in the back of the mind. We learn the law on the client also gives us how many litigation work, any appeal to be drafted. Obviously, they do not expect us the answer to be given at the moment the question is asked. In fact, the job is to research well and give an answer, foolproof, and that's very, very important. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Now this question, there are two questions which are, I think, interlinked. So Ramakrishna Patro has asked, how can an internship be expected to, how can an intern be expected to have practical skills? Because intern is applying for internship to attain practical skills. All right. And the second question is from Garimagar: does doing diploma courses is beneficial? So, sir, what do you think? So, what is your take on it, sir?
Okay,
What
I think
kind of
answering
repertoire
Mr.
is
Patro's
expected? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, answering Mr. Patro's question first. I think the expectations change depends depending on what year you are in. For example, if you're in the first year and second year, we obviously will not expect you to learn practical insights and practical aspects of the law when you come for internships. But if you come in the fourth year or final year, obviously there will be expectations. Therefore, the practical learning will be through different activities, will be through internships in your initial years of law. Now, for example, what will be construed as practical skill in your second internship is what you have learned in your first internship, right? So therefore, if you are showing in your CV that you have already interned once with
Sonak sir. Hello.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm really sorry, I got dropped off because of that.
it's
Yeah.
alright.
So I was just saying that what matters
And if you
is
want, you can turn off
how
your
exactly
video.
you are.
It would be really
Is
helpful
it
for
fine
us.
now? Like, am I audible or else? Is
Voice
it
is a bit
fine
jittery.
now?
I think bandwidth can be better utilized if video is turned off.
Okay, I will turn. I will turn. Yeah. Am I audible now clearly?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah. So what I was trying to say, when you're interning in your second year, maybe what you have learned in your first year or during different internships done in your initial years is what matters and will be construed as the practical insights that you have learned in those years. So how things work exactly with this, for example, if you demonstrate in your CV that you have done an internship under a district court lawyer, and then if I am a high court lawyer, if you are coming to me next, I will expect that you have at least understood certain practical insights. I will not expect that, okay, you know each and every aspect of district court advocacy. But what I will at least expect that whether you know how the court works, whether you know the setup of a court as far as the hierarchy of judges are concerned in a district court or in a high court. And then that is the practical insight that will be key, which we will expect. Similarly, when you go higher and higher in the years, if you come to a law firm and in a fourth year or final year, we will expect you as an intern, if you show that you have done 10 internships, for example, we will expect you that, okay, you have gained certain skills in those 10 internships, and that is what will be the expectation. But obviously, if you remain silent in your CV and say that, okay, this is going to be my first internship, we will not expect that practical insight and practical skill from you, even if you are in your final year, because I understand many law students, I've seen many law students from different colleges doing internships only at the final years, and obviously from them we can't expect prior knowledge, and therefore it depends on a lot of aspects. What I only meant was, if you have done an internship, make sure that you are aware of what you have learned there and you apply that in your next internship. Coming to the second question that you asked, Anubhav,
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure who asked that question, but the question I think was
Garima
related.
Gal.
Right. Thanks, Garima, for your question. I think that's a very pertinent question, whether diploma courses, etc., will help you in making good your caliber and skills, etc. I think it's definitely an add-on. However, it's not a predeterminative factor for us to consider. I think what you can learn in diploma courses can also be learned in general course curriculum and different internships. So do not do a diploma course only for the sake of doing it, thinking that, okay, that might add any value to what you already know, right? So, but however, doing that, obviously there's no harm. Doing that will always be seen as a plus. However, I'm saying that you will not be treated any differently merely because you have done a diploma course. Especially, you will not be seen higher than your colleague who has not done such a diploma course. So it won't really make much of a difference, is all I'm trying to say. But obviously, you may feel more confident on a personal footing that you have certain knowledge on a particular subject having done that course. Therefore, your confidence level will be high. So yeah, like moods, like research papers, diploma courses is just one more thing where you can actually have that kind of inclination towards learning the practical insights in law.
All right, all right, sir. So sir, it would be correct to say that if, if you have done a diploma course, then it is not a ticket to a tier one. It will definitely
Absolutely,
it will definitely add to your knowledge, to your repertoire, but but it's not a hail mary solution to all the problems. And
absolutely.
another thing, sir, I
Yeah.
I would like to mention here is I read contract law for almost a year in my law school, but I didn't know how to draft a contract. So I still believe that there is a gap between practical knowledge needed in the fraternity and the knowledge which is given to students in law school. So taking a course might actually help you to bridge that gap and gain some sort of practical insight. So I think what is your take on it, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. As in, for example, the fact remains is I think your example that you gave is fitting into the answer of that query. However, that won't be a generic answer. Say, for example, if you ask me if I have to learn contract drafting, I can understand that okay, your drafting and pleadings classes or subjects will happen only towards the fag end of your fourth and final year. Maybe they won't teach you contract drafting, and therefore the course may be effective. However, if you ask me whether I should do a course on constitutional law or do a course on criminal law, I might say no, because you will be anyway these subjects in the general course of your curriculum, as well as you have sufficient opportunities to do other things instead of investing a lot of amount in courses, because I see the courses come at a price. Therefore, it depends if you're doing a very niche kind of a situation, or kind of a subject that you are dealing with. Maybe something like if I may say, what subject should I mention? If I say again sports law, for example, you won't have much curriculum, much colleges dealing with the sports law as a subject. But if you're interested, you should obviously deal with a sports law based course, and that can obviously help and add value to your CV. So therefore, there is no generic answer for this. It depends on a fact to fact basis, what exactly is your inclination and interest to a particular subject, as well as whether you have an opportunity to learn the subject other than doing that course will be the determining factors that be kept in mind while opting for a course. Yeah.
I totally second that. Nicely put. So let's take the example of J Sagar only. So uh, we know that J Sagar deals in electricity laws, right? So if you take here, I would also like to take the opportunity of plugging in LawSikho's courses. So let's say you take a course of electricity laws from LawSikho, then
Okay.
it would really help you to increase your odds of getting a internship at J Sagar, which is a prestigious firm and not everyone makes it. Or also increase your chance of PPO there. Why? Because you have some knowledge about it before even interning there. So it shows that you are also, other than taking learnings from there, you will also be providing something. Like you might know electricity laws better, or transmission or distribution regulations better, anything of that sort. But but it actually enhances your repertoire in the regards of
Yeah,
value.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. I agree with that. Also, like really grateful of the fact that you have done some background research with your question so far as, going for the regulation specific to transmission and distribution is concerned. Yeah. So the fact remains is this, honestly saying, I'm from KIT Bhubaneswar. KIT does not have electricity laws and energy laws as a subject in the 5-year curriculum. My exposure to electricity law as a subject was when I interned with Jays for the first time. I didn't know that it's such vast area of law, having so much of opportunities. Sorry, have I again dropped out? Yeah.
No, no,
Okay,
sir.
I'm in.
Perfect. Fine.
So therefore, what I'm yeah, I realized that. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, back then when I interned for the first time in JSA, electricity law was absolutely new to me. I had to adapt to the particular law. So therefore, had I interned like in any other law firm before that, doing energy laws or dealing with energy laws, maybe that would have helped. But yes, the had I have a course and dealt with the course specifically, maybe of LawSikho or any other course for that matter, understanding the nitty-gritties of the law and understanding the basics of electricity law, I'm sure I would have been more efficient in my first internship. Because what I used to do back then, I recollect in my fourth year June, when I interned with JSA first, whenever I was given a research proposition, I used to ask one or two queries from the attorney that was giving me the proposition. I requested them to explain in and out of what they're asking, and then also used to go back and research terms that are very specific to electricity law, as to what do they mean, as to what exactly how they are defined in the regulations. So maybe all of that information would have been available to me had I done that course. Maybe not, right? Therefore again, the answer is not very generic. Maybe as a subject like electricity law, yes, course would have helped. But as a subject of some other thing like CPC or any general law, where we deal with that in and out, there's no point of doing a course in that. You can always read up the cases, you can always read, because electricity law, maybe if I may say that, it's an evolving sector. Not many judgments are there, not issues are not settled. The disputes are there in open courts, and the courts are actively addressing the questions of law and questions of facts. And these questions are yet to attain finality, because many, like very few matters have reached the Supreme Court as on date, because Electricity Act was only enacted in 2003. The way it stands today, it has always been in place since 1948 and 1910 for that matter. But what I'm trying to say is, because the area is niche, it has not developed a lot. Maybe an expert course may definitely help to have some initial grip on that. But I feel that will help you only at a stage of a callback or at a stage of a trainee associate, because that is where your skills on the subject will be tested. As against in your first internship, where your hard work, where your dedication, where your inclination to work, where your other aspects of general approach towards an internship will be the key determining factors for you to test. No one will ask you a question on energy laws and electricity laws when you go for your first internship. If you run into a cabin of a partner, they won't say you, Acha, Saunak, explain me what intra-state ABT regime means. So that is what I'm trying to say. The expectations are different. When I say practical skills, this is what is practical skills. No one will expect me to know energy laws. They will expect me to conduct in a certain way. They will expect me to be perfect with my research. But these are the kind of things that you should consider. Therefore, yes, the course will help ultimately, but not at the stage of maybe your first internship, but maybe fruitful at the stage when it's either here or there, when you have to crack a job.
All right. So thank you so much for the wonderful insight, sir. I can see that we have reached timing, so I have to take permission of Saunak sir to continue with the webinar. So sir, can we stretch it a bit further?
We can definitely extend it by say 15 minutes. I have a conference at 2, so I need like 10-15 minutes a gap before I join that. So we can continue till 1:45.
All right, sir. This question has come from in the very beginning of the webinar. I think it's very pertinent. And you also mentioned it to me when we were drafting this webinar. You also mentioned it to me. And what things to do in order to score a PPO? What is expected out of an intern during an internship so that he is considered worthy for a PPO? If you can enlighten us on that, sir, it would be really
okay. Before that, if I may just give an anecdote here as to what exactly sometimes happens, and especially that happened with me also. So I'll tell you an opportunity where I had to intern with Mr. Amarjit Singh Chandiok, a senior advocate. He's like the godfather of Delhi High Court, and he's the best senior counsel that you can actually go for when you have a matter in Delhi High Court, and especially for interim orders. So I had he was also an like ex-ASG of India. So I had that opportunity of dealing with him during the internships. And the best part about him is he's someone who will not let the attorneys, or rather the associates, deal with the interns. He himself interacts, he himself gives the work, and he will also take the feedback give the feedback and also take the updates on how things are working. So back in my third year, like early third year, when I was interning under him, and I was really pestering him with the questions of GST, and we were analyzing the constitutional validity of GST laws that had just come in. And every time I used to just run into his cabin, irrespective of how busy he was, he always used to entertain me. But at the end of the day, he used to tell me that, Saunak, you're just in your third year, that too early third year. Chill about it. No one is expecting a lot of effort from you at this stage. Just chill. On the other hand, when I was interning with another advocate on record in in my final year, and we went to brief Mr. Chandiok for a matter, he recognized me immediately, and he said, "See, now things have turned. You are in your final year," and that was some early final year, I guess. And he said the expectations have changed. You have to be on your toes throughout this conference, and you are the one who needs to brief me initially, and then the advocate on record, your senior, can go forward. So as an intern, he expected me differently in my third year and final year. And why I mentioned this is, it's very, very important, right? Because you can't be expected to be in a position as such, what he expected of me in final year, without putting that hard work in second, third, and fourth year, or maybe in your first year also, right? You can't chill for the initial 4 years and then suddenly get a hang of everything in your final year, and then you are expected to be on your toes. You're expected to know the law. You expect to input the law. You are good submissions. So therefore, what I'm saying is, it has to be a balanced approach throughout your law school career. Okay. So having said that, exactly answering your question as to what exactly needs to be done in law firm, has the most important thing. For example, you need to be you need to demonstrate that you are interested in the law firm. You need to demonstrate that the work is interesting. Even if there should not be any interest being demonstrated. How can be done is, for example, if your day is ending and asking an attorney for work, almost all your colleagues have already left for the calling of the day, then I think even if we don't give you work, we'll at least see that, okay, you have an inclination and interest to work more and over and above your timelines of the day. Secondly, if we give you a research, or if we give you, no matter how small the work is, we expect you to read it thrice, times, make it absolute foolproof. Reading is a must. And therefore, what we expect is, there should not be any duplicity of we doing the same work again if we give an intern a particular task. Therefore, you need to give us that thing to any attorney that can directly go to the cabin of a partner, okay, or to maybe directly to a client. That will be the expectation when you are in your fourth year and final year, and these are not applicable when you are in your initial year for obvious reasons, right? Final year, there is no difference between you as an final year student and an associate who is a AZ or a fresher. Now, especially for me, honestly saying, starting working from my 10th semester, there was it's kind of just a formal thing. Apart from the only increase in my figures, apart from that, there was no literal change from the last day of my trainee associate period versus as an associate period, right? Therefore, they will expect you to work in the very same manner as an associate works if they want to give you a job. And that is what exactly you need to get the trust of, and you need to make them believe that you are ready for the same. I think that is what exactly is the expectation, and there's nothing more than that. Again, no straitjacket formula. But yes, if you are given the research, give us the judgment that we can actually go and cite in the court. It should not be like tomorrow we are citing a judgment based on your research and input. Yeah, and then it has been overruled maybe, So therefore, what you need to be very, very careful is, you need to give us the best possible effort from your end. One last thing that you should demonstrate in any of these, internships is, what extra effort are you making to make good and how exactly are you standing out of the lot? Because, for example, in June and July, most of these law firms entertain applications for internships. And during those times, there'll be 15, 20 interns, maybe 20, 25 interns sometimes. Out of that, coming into the notice of the partner is very, very difficult. Therefore, you should also make all possible endeavors so as to make all ends meet, and put that extra effort, put that extra zeal. For example, if you're given a task, come back and suggest me an alternative to that task also, that Saunak, you can also look for this and think about this, if this argument may also work. Give me that extra element, and we will definitely keep you under observation. So I think these are few factors that you should have in your mind when you are approaching for your next internship, especially if you're expecting a callback, or at least you're expecting a job from. Yeah.
Perfect, sir. Now we have not more than 5 minutes with us. So I would like to pick the most pertinent question.
Sure.
How to get assessment internship in JSagar? So, sir, if you can give us some insights on what are the criteria on which JSagar takes in interns, and what are the criteria they give PPOs on, it will be really some actionable and practical insights for all the attendees here.
Okay. So first of all, the fact is, because I'm in Delhi office, I can only confirm the exact method and manner in which recruitments are done in Delhi office. I'm sure that Gurgaon, Bangalore, Bombay, Hyderabad, and other offices are following different methodologies, and I'm not in a position to comment on that. However, if you are interested in the litigation team of JSA, and if you are looking forward to work with us, then I think there are three things that you need to keep in mind. One is, unless you are doing a long-term internship, your chances are very, very bleak. Okay. So because JSA almost has done away with the concept of PPOs, they are preferring people coming in as long-term interns and converting that into a position. If at all your law school can allow you to join in 10 semesters as long-term interns, then please take the opportunity and request the HR for a long-term position, maybe of 3-4 months, or maybe at least minimum of 3 months is what I would suggest, because that increases your charges, because you will be visible for over 3 months. The partner will be directly giving you work. And I think that is what matters. Second is, be in direct touch with the partner right from day zero. The day you join, okay, it's very important to communicate what you expect out of the 3 months internship, or any internship for that matter. It's always good to have clarity in your mind also, because if you tell the partner on day zero that, see, I'm expecting a job and please treat this as an assessment internship, or at least consider me and maybe give me an assessment internship after this. If these are the options open to you, maybe the partner will be very straightforward and say that, sorry boss, we can't do this because maybe we don't have vacancies for another 6 months. So you will get a clarity or clear picture. Okay, they're not looking for anyone, so you also won't waste your time of 2-3 months there. That is number one benefit of that. Second is, if they say, okay, we'll consider, then understand that it's not a confirmation, but at least they have appreciated the fact that you have informed them and they are looking forward to it. Ultimately, everything depends on how you perform. That is what exactly happened with me in JSA. I went for the first time in June of my 4th year studies. Like after finishing 4th year, the June was my first internship. After that, I was given a callback internship in the month of September. And please understand, there are two ways how this works. You do a first internship, there is an interview, there is a marking process. And then based on that, if you were really good, you will be called back by a respective partner. But if you apply for it again and you get a second internship, that is not a callback. Please make sure you're not mistaken there. I have seen many who come back to JSA after applying for the second time and think it was an assessment internship. In reality, it's not. We clarify that. Therefore, it's very, very important to have that sense intact, and so that students are not even expecting such a situation, because they never ask for it. HR obviously not being asked, there's no sort of clarifications also, and people are under expectations. However, that is a wrong assumed expectation is what I would say. Therefore, unless you are called back in JSA, you are not given a position. Once you are called back, that is where you need to just make sure that whatever time you have, you will perform the best. And see, if they're calling you back, they're actually considering you. With that intention, they will obviously not put it in figures and writings in black and white, okay, we are considering you, etc. But back of the mind, I was obviously confused as to whether they're actually considering or not. But yes, I realized after my period got over, as if Matlab, it was kind of like, honestly saying, after my 6 months, after September, I was given an option either to join directly in June next year or to join in my 10th semester. Rather, that was based on my counter offer because I wanted to get the experience, and they were not aware that my 10th semester is free. And I told them that, see, I'm available in my 10th semester. If you want, I can join. We can discuss about it. So that is how things had worked. So again, the situation was that there was the transition phase after my callback internship, and when I joined ultimately in January, was very minimal. As in, I was treated as an associate back then in September itself when it was a callback internship, honestly, because I was dealing with independent matters. I was given work directly by the concerned partner, and that is how things were working. So January, almost honestly, unofficially, I joined as an associate, if I may call it that way, because that is how things were very clear from the intent. And I never had a doubt that, okay, are they actually going to hire me as an associate or not after I finish this 6 months period. So that is the comfort you will have if you have a callback from any place for that matter. But yes, if you don't have a callback, if you're applying and re-going, do not consider it as an assessment unless specifically told to you, right? So that is how JSA Delhi office works. It mostly is on long-term internships based, because that gives an opportunity to the partner to properly assess as to whether he or she will be an asset for the firm, and as well as it gives you as an option as an intern to also understand the work dynamics, the work culture, whether you are ready for a 16-17 hour a day job, and whether you are ready with respect to understanding the niche areas that we deal in. Also the civil litigation, arbitration team, and competition teams are also there in JS's Delhi office. So yeah, that is how things work. I hope I've given some clarity there, because honestly, there's no policy standard as on date. PPOs almost are, done away with. JSA Delhi office has also done away with going for campus placements, because we honestly feel, unless we see an intern, unless we evaluate the practical and physical presence in the firm and doing the work in front of our eyes, we cannot trust them with the work. Gold medalist in a different law school in a top tier, NLUs will not help. That's a very subjective criteria that may help in other offices of JSA, because of the fact that they have bulk requirements of people to join every year. But Delhi has, like, because it's a dedicated litigation team, the requirement and vacancies are very few. Therefore, we have to choose the best of the lot to hire, and I think that is how JSA Delhi office works.
Thank you so much for the insight, sir. As you have to leave now, I would quickly like to, guys, we will entertain all rest of the queries in some future session, or you can reach out to Saunak sir on his LinkedIn. I'm sending his profile in the Zoom chat. Here it is. If you guys have any doubt regarding the LawSikho courses, you can reach out to me. I won't send my profile. So with this, before we head out, I would like to ask all the attendees your feedback regarding the session. Can you please rate this session on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest, so that we can get a sense of feedback and how we performed and where we can improve? Please. Thank you so much, Niharika. Thank you, Gurdev, Adarsh. All right. Shubham has been very generous in giving us a 6 out of 5. All right. So I thank you so much, Saunak sir, for being here. I know you have worked piled up and you are very busy person, and despite all that, you spared us the time to enlighten us, that too on a national holiday, and that too at this time. It I don't have words to express my gratitude. So thank you so much, sir, for being here. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anubhav, for inviting me again. I would like to thank you, and also for everyone who would also participate and take out some time of their schedules. Also, I can understand it's Independence Day today. Happy Independence Day to everyone, by the way. So yeah, I think thank you so much for joining, and thank you for being a part of this. Thank you all of you for your questions. I'm available on LinkedIn anytime. Please feel free to drop me a question. If you have a lot of questions, I will suggest you to ping me on LinkedIn only on the weekends, so that I can also devote some time and address your queries. Or else you can also send me a question and then follow up on a weekend. I'm sure I'll try my best to reply on the weekends. Okay, I think Anubhav, there's a question whether this will be available on YouTube. Maybe the students may be relying on this later, and whosoever couldn't join but had registered can also have a hang of this session.
So this will be available on YouTube. The recording will be up by within 2 3 days to create a difference between people who joined the live discussion and
Okay.
didn't. Yeah. All right. So okay, sir. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Anubhav.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. The second time I got associated with LawSikho, the first time was with respect to the mooting and various aspects of mooting. So I think that's already up on YouTube. So yeah, thank you so much for this brilliant session. I really enjoyed this. Thank you once again for inviting. Thank you everyone for participating in this and making this meaningful. I hope there was some purpose which was achieved today by this session. Thank you once again, and I wish you all the best to everyone, and also stay safe in these trying times. Thank you.
Okay. So it's time to